Meghan Markle made a sneaky podcast jab against Spotify that you missed in this clip right here. Let me explain more. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness, yeah. Let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, Megxie made a sneaky podcast jab against Spotify that I think you guys missed in this clip right here. So let me explain. First and foremost, thanks to Royal News Network, Brittany over there, for sharing this clip. Do make sure you follow her on Twitter and subscribe to her on YouTube. And here, Brittany is saying in a tweet, well, we always know, at least for Meghan, it's hardly working, which is why Spotify dropped her and Harry. At least the podcast studio Spotify allegedly built for her is finally being put to some use. I'm curious if she actually did the interviewing this time or not. And so this is from Meghan's Instagram stories, saying Confessions of a Female Founder trailer is out today. Question, hard at work or hardly working? The former, my friend, the former. Let's go. And if you don't understand the answer to that, she's essentially saying, I'm hard at work. I'm hard at work, I'm hard at work, I'm hard at work. Here's the evidence, I'm hard at work. Now, this reminded me, okay, of what Bill Simmons, a Spotify executive, said after Hazza and Megxie were dropped, fired, whatever you want to call it, right? For essentially not paying their dues, not doing the actual work, right? This made the headlines a couple of years ago now when all this happened. And so Bill Simmons turned around and said, I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The effing grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them. Now, he said this on his podcast, the Bill Simmons podcast. He then says, I've got to get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom I had with Harry to try and help him with a podcast idea. It's one of my best stories. F them, the grifters. He also said in a January 2022 episode of his podcast, you live in effing Montecito, you just sell documentaries and podcasts, and nobody cares what you have to say about anything unless you talk about the royal family and you just complain about them. So, prior to Hazza and Megxie being dropped by Spotify, Bill Simmons just was not the biggest Megxie and Hazza fan in the world at all. But the bit that I want to direct your attention to is where Bill Simmons turned around and said that essentially they were effing grifters, that they did not put the work in whatsoever, that they're lazy, that they just can't be bothered. And so I remind you of what Bill Simmons says, calling them effing grifters on the heels of Megxie and Hazza being dropped by Spotify. And then you get this from Megxie right here, with her new podcast with Lemonada, Confessions of a Female Founder, or, as a lot of us like to call it, Confessions of a Female Flounder. And she's like, question, hard at work or hardly working? The former, my friend, the former. This is, for me, a jab, shade against Spotify. And Bill Simmons, who turned around and called her and Hazza an effing grifter, saying that they're not hardworking whatsoever. That's why we dropped them. Megxie's turning around and saying, I am hard at work. You're all wrong, you idiots. Blah, 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 blah. That, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, is the sneaky podcast jab against Spotify that you missed in this clip right here. Little bit of a short and sharp one, this Daily Nerd. But what do you guys think? On your way out, please make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe. Like, share, Comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Do you think that Meghan Markle's clip that I just showed you right there is a sneaky Spotify shade, is a podcast jab against Spotify? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I appreciate all your faces, and until the next time, you guys, laters.